Welcome. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Down with the Browns. I am your host, Manny Maxwell. We are here with Blake, Hot Take McCoy, KFC, Zach, and Jake are out tonight. Dave is going to hop in a little bit later. We have a lot of fun things to go over covering the Browns. There's always drama when you're covering the Cleveland Browns. And per usual, there's just news flying left and right. We got Amari Cooper getting traded. We got, the Browns losing to the Philadelphia Eagles. Devontae Adams obviously going to the Jets. There's going to be a lot of big things we're going to be covering tonight. The Guardians are in the playoffs right now, playing the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees are unfortunately up 3-0 on the Guards. But, you hate to see it. But So Blake, to break things open for you, I did want to ask one of our wacky questions. If you had to watch only 2 movies on a deserted island, which 2 movies would you bring? That is 2 movies on a deserted island. Which 2 movies would you bring? Let's start it off on a light note.
Dude, there's this one Marvel movie that I love watching on repeat. Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok. Okay. That's a good movie. That's a very good movie. That's a really good movie.
I think that's the one with
Helena. I think this is one with the green lady. I think the green lady, she's dressed in all green. I think that was Ragnarok. I'm not pretty sure. But what's your second movie?
I'm thinking about it. Give me your first one real quick.
My first movie I would bring. I had to struggle with this because I wanted to bring a Star Wars movie. I definitely bring probably a Star Wars movie. I'd say A New Hope. Started off real nice and easy, just because I know pretty much all the lines and things like that. And then my second really wasn't a. It was hard. I was the one who made the question up, but
I need a funny one.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I could bring the Office DVD box set, the whole whole show. That's not. It doesn't really count. But I would definitely bring The Office. I like that show a lot. You know what I mean? It's kind of crude humor, but I like it.
I love The Office.
Yeah, so it's hard. I mean, it's not a movie. You know what I mean?
If I could do that, I would do Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys? Okay, I like that. That's a good show. That's a very good show. That is a very good show. I'm glad that we started the show off on a high note that is a little bit lighter because we're about to get into the nitty-gritty things. And unfortunately, Amari Cooper, let's just get right into it. Amari Cooper has been dealt. The Buffalo Bills have finalized a trade with the Cleveland Browns for 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Amari Cooper. So the Buffalo Bills are sending a 3rd-round pick in 2025 and a 7th-round pick in 2026 to the Browns in exchange for Cooper and a 6th-round pick in 2025. Cooper, the number 4 overall pick in the 2015 draft, has over 9,700 receiving yards and 62 touchdowns in his NFL career. So Cooper also is in the final year of his contract and is making currently the veteran minimum of $1.21 million in 2024 after restructuring his deal in July to add 4 voidable years. He initially held out of mandatory minicamp in Cleveland while he sought to get paid and kind of get that raise that he was looking for. And the team rewarded him with an additional $20 million in guarantees. So the Buffalo Bills are only going to have to pay Amari Cooper about $800,000 for the rest of the season. So, he's making the veteran minimum. He really wanted to go to a team where he could really show his skill set. He knows he's in a contract year. He knows he has to really ball out this year. And it seems as though he wasn't doing it in Cleveland. So the question that I have for you, Blake, what on earth, and I have some thoughts too, but what on earth are the Cleveland Browns doing? What does this trade mean for the season? Are we tanking? What do you think is going on? What are the Browns doing?
I mean, if you don't trade your number 1 receiver if you're trying to go win the Super Bowl. So, to me, this just tells me that the season's over. I mean, like I have in my little title down there, move or rust. That is the first 3 words that Amari Cooper said after his trade. to me, that sounds like he didn't like Watson, and it sounds like the locker room is kinda tired of Watson's, uh, shitty play. And, I don't know, like, in watching the Kevin Stefanski, like, press conference, like, it seems like he's scared to bench Watson, and it just seems like Jimmy Haslam is behind the camera saying all these things that Kevin is saying to us, and it's just I I'm so like, this is a crappy day because Amari Cooper should still be on the Cleveland Browns.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you so much for stopping by,
Hi,
Dave. I
Dave.
mean, you're gonna be right on the hot seat, Dave. You're gonna be right
Mr.
in the hot
Dave.
seat. What does the Amari Cooper trade mean for the Cleveland Browns, Dave? What do you got?
That is, they are finally admitting that the season is over. I don't think they're admitting their mistakes with Deshaun yet, but they will be soon. But I think this is the first sign of the Browns saying, okay, we feel like the season is over. Getting a third rounder for Amari Cooper is better than nothing when he leaves at the end of the year, because he is 1,000% gone anyway at the end of this year. So, third round pick, not the worst thing in the world. It gets out Amari out of the locker room, which is probably going to be semi-important to any semblance of good football being played by this team in the next couple weeks. So I think it's a clear signal. The Browns are saying, "Hey, we feel pretty confident the season's done." They would never admit that, but I mean, I can't see any other really explanation and reasoning for getting rid of Amari Cooper at this point, other than that's the white flag, in my opinion.
It's hard for me to say that just yet. And the reason why I'm gonna, for the both of you, I think you're probably both on the same page. It depends what the Cleveland Browns are doing after this trade, right? I mean, what are you doing with these picks? Now you have a third round pick. Now you have also a seventh round pick. So I wonder, are they going to try to package picks to make something happen? I think that I'm not trying to be overly optimistic here. I'm not trying to be overly optimistic whatsoever. But what I do understand is that, the Cleveland Browns being 1-5, I think that they are going, we'll touch a little bit later on this. I think they're going to continue to play Deshaun Watson. You're going into a game with the Cincinnati Bengals. You're 1-5. Joe Burrow, I was going to say Jose Burrow. Joe Burrow is 1-5 against you guys. He's never won a football game in Cleveland in his entire NFL career. So I'm wondering exactly what are you going to do with that? So it's hard to say. It's hard to say if they go pick up a DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, they think that they can do something in this season. I mean, at 1-5, I think it's only happened 4 times in NFL history where somebody's went to the playoffs. Or maybe they're trying to salvage a season and see what they can do. But the offensive line is battered up. Nick Harris, unfortunately, is on IR now, our center. So I think we signed a center named Cameron Tom or something like that from the practice squad to come in for his place. But I don't know if this is a white flag for the Cleveland Browns rather than it is a retooling. But we will find out after Sunday, because if we lose versus Cincinnati, the division game, it's over, and we're 1-6, and then they're 3-4. It's over. It is completely over. This game this Sunday, and we'll highlight it, is the final straw. 100%. Moving forward. So I did want to touch on, another thing as we move slowly into, the season. AJ says poverty, that's quite literally what, that's Manny Maxwell. We are Poverty Maxwell. That's my name in the title. But Drew said that they're carrying Deshaun Watson through next year as well. Yeah, I think
maybe they'll let him sit at home.
You know what I mean? They're not gonna for $45 million. They're gonna play him. They're gonna play him. I know Big Cat from Barstool. He was suggesting that the Cleveland Browns are kind of punishing Deshaun Watson, and the NFL's kind of punishing Deshaun Watson in their own way, kind of making him play quarterback and just showing everybody how bad he really is. But that's the only kind of conspiracy theory that I could possibly think of as to why the Browns were still playing him in the first place when Deshaun Watson is pretty bad at football. But with that being said, we can start highlighting the Philadelphia Eagles game. Boys, another defeat.
This sucks, dude.
Another defeat.
They could have won this game. This literally sucks.
We literally could have won this game.
Dude,
so
the offense scored 9 points. 9 points.
We could have won this game without scoring points on offense.
Dude, Quincy did a fantastic breakdown, and what he did is he accumulated last year PJ Walker and Dorian Thompson-Robinson starts, and apparently there was a body of work that equaled an equivalency of like 6 games played. Just so happens to be how many games the Browns have played. So what he did is stat by stat is he went through the accumulation of P.J. Walker and Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Deshaun Watson in these first 6 games. If you go back and watch his video and listen to that, it is unbelievable how bad Deshaun Watson is playing this year. P.J. Walker and DTR, and I still can't even believe I'm saying P.J. Walker in this. They had like 20 more first downs than Deshaun Watson does through 6 games. They had like 200 more passing yards than Deshaun Watson does through 6 games. It was a plethora of things. And I was just sitting there in my ride to work, and I'm just sitting there like listening to one after the other. And I could not believe when that just really puts it in perspective as to how bad a quarterback play we're seeing. That game was it's just our offense is so inept. I don't even know what to say more about it.
This offense is worse than the 1-31 run offense.
We knew they were going to suck. We knew those teams were going to suck.
No, I'm talking about this offense is even worse than that offense.
Yeah. Dude, if P.J. Walker and DTR have a better 6-game swap than what we got, then yeah, that's I'm sure the 1-31 or 1-31 was just
they had a better offense than our offense right now.
I think that what we have with Amari Cooper leaving, you know what I mean, and kind of showing his frustrations on the way out. He had frustrations with the offense. And again, I've said this already over Twitter a couple of times, but one of the problems that I'm having with Amari Cooper and the way that he left this offense and the way he left this team is kind of the same way Davante Adams left the Las Vegas Raiders, right? I mean, you have that whole hamstring. I'm sure fans loved having Davante Adams there the entire time, but that magical hamstring and because of the quicken, 2024 magical medicine, all of a sudden he's fine. And when he gets to New York and playing for the Jets, I think when it comes to Amari, it's not really injury based, but I think it's more performance based. You're going to see Amari Cooper do well in Buffalo. And the reason is because I feel not maybe so much on purpose he's dropping balls.
He's going to do so good.
He's going to do so well. I think that he was just not.
Dude, his head was wrecked. His head was wrecked. He was really hoping to be part of something special.
Yes.
And after that first game, when he realized Deshaun Watson could not throw a football, he knew exactly what this year was going to be.
Oh, 100%.
He's probably elated to get out of here.
He could not wait. I think a lot of it had to do with Deshaun Watson. I think that the offensive struggles, for some reason, the offensive line completely regressed. And I think that emotionally, what also didn't help were the trade talks with Brandon Ayuk. I know, Blake, you said that pre-podcast. I mean, you're going into the season with him already putting on social media, or something. I'd be happy to, or something. I don't forget what he said exactly on Instagram, but it was along those lines of like, I wouldn't mind at all. I think it was exactly what the words he said.
I wouldn't mind.
But it's like,
that was a subtle way of saying, get me the hell out of here.
Exactly. And that was before the season even started. And so, like, we're
he
like,
knew.
okay, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm like, whatever. So he went into the season, and I'm like, man, he's not going to do very well. But hey, this gives us an opportunity to see exactly what we have in Jerry Jeudy for the next 2-3 years. We get to see exactly what we're having in Elijah Moore and in a wide receiver number 2. It gives Cedric Tillman more looks. Jamari Thrash, we'll see the ability that he has at wide receiver.
Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney. I mean, it's so sad to even have to say this again. I said that this could be like another preseason, but if we do tank, it'll just be another preseason for the rest of the season, which is horrible because this is ticket money. This is ticket money.
Big money.
This is
big
different.
money.
This is way different than 2017 when we knew our team was bad.
Yeah.
Right. Like this year, we were really, like Blake, you said it earlier, we were having Super Bowl aspirations, at least winning the division, potentially going to the playoffs, at least. And now we're sitting here at 1-5. And so, again, I don't know. But the question I really wanted to ask both of you right now is, we're looking at Deshaun Watson, right? We're looking at him struggle. We're looking at it, maybe it's the offensive line, maybe it's the play calling. Some people say that emotionally and mentally, he's just not there because he has to settle all these cases on the side. And, he clearly has a Twitter. He clearly has a social media and this is the weight of the world on his shoulders, whether it be right, wrong, or indifferent, right? Whether he deserves it or not deserves it, the weight of the world is on his shoulders. And so sometimes when you're in a situation where not everybody likes you, it's harder to flourish in that kind of situation. And so, and now we have some fans, they can't wait to boo him on Sunday. Maybe some fans might not even, it's going to be loud.
They are going to boo all game, and it's going to be so loud you can hear it from the TV broadcast.
They might even boo if there's a touchdown. They might even not even, they might not even cheer if there's a touchdown. But if there's a sack, they're booing immediately.
I really feel bad for Nick Chubb because everybody's been waiting for him to make his return.
Yeah.
And they're going to do offensive introductions. They're going to do Deshaun. They're going to do Deshaun Watson. That whole place is just going to boo. And then Nick Chubb is going. Everybody's going to cheer. And then the game kicks off, and they're just going to boo the rest of the game.
They're the best. And that's it. That's it. That's
it's going to be terrible.
I'm almost wondering if they should have start Nick Chubb. Obviously, I want to get to the question because I'm like, they should start Nick Chubb and but at the same time, it's just, again, the mental part. And then maybe people are like, well, he's making $230 million guaranteed. Get over the mental struggles. But Dave, do you think Deshaun's struggles are mentally, physically, or play calling related, or all three, combination of all three?
I would rank them in order. I would say the least category that would be causing Deshaun Watson problems is physically. He's still very, very hard to bring down. As many times as he's been hit and sacked, he just still throws plenty of velocity on the footballs that I see, albeit extremely inaccurate. I think the second thing probably is going to be the play calling. So number 2 would be play calling. I think Stefanski could definitely do more to accommodate and to offset some of those problems he's having, incorporating much more play action passes, plays under center instead of in the shotgun, a little bit more protection, better blocking scheme set up to do that. But I think the number one reason that Deshaun Watson is completely awful, and there's just no other way to say it, completely awful, it is mentally. And he is just not reading basic defenses well. He's throwing the wrong routes on cover 2s. He's throwing the wrong routes on cover 3s. I just don't understand what he's thinking most of the time. He had a couple passes in that second half of that game that you see physically, he is fine. When he roped that pass to Amari Cooper that got down inside the 10 or whatever, it was like a deep slant or something. I forget. But that pass was – there's only a handful of people in the NFL that could throw that ball where he threw it and get it in there. Absolutely. So physically is definitely not an issue, but it's a mental issue, and he's wrecked. He is not ever going to be Deshaun of the Houston Texans era, and we need to figure our exit strategy out right now to move forward.
And that's going to be my next question, just to prepare you both. Is if you wanted to get out of the Deshaun Watson kind of scenario, what are some of the hypotheticals? And I'll go first with that to give you some time to think about it. But Blake, what do you think that Deshaun's struggles are mentally, physically? Are they play calling? A little bit of both, all three.
Dude, it's everything.
Mm.
Like he sucks. The wide receivers have sucked. The offensive line has sucked. There is no identity to this offense. Like, what was the point of hiring Ken Dorsey if we look like this? Because Kevin Stefanski, dude, like doesn't know how to call plays with Ken's stuff. Like, I don't understand it. I don't know why they're trying to mesh this stuff. At first, I thought I did, but now I don't because it's a complete clusterfuck. Like, it's just terrible. Like, the NFL, like, it's too complicated to just run this simple stuff. They run just spread it out, let Deshaun throw it 30, 40 times a game, one easy read, and he can't even make the read. Like, it's terrible. And with him, I don't think it's physically, like, I think he's perfectly fine. It's definitely mentally. Like, he can sling the ball, like, his arm's perfectly fine now. It's just he's not looking downfield. The pocket is wide open. He's running for his life when the pocket is just clean. And, like, it's like I'm watching high school football, and it's just bad. It's bad all around, and, like, I wanna just blame it on him because, like, obviously he's the quarterback, but it's everybody, dude. It is legit everybody.
Manny, can we talk about Kevin Stefanski's press conference when he said and made the statement that Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win?
It looked like there was a gun to his head. That's what it looked like.
What a statement. I mean, honestly, massive. And talking to the locker room with that, like, hey, I know that you guys have been watching this, and I know you guys know that he sucked pretty bad, but he's going to give us the best chance to win football games. Like, why would you even say that? Just say, hey, we're going to stick with Deshaun and move on. Why would you come make that statement? He gives us the best chance to win football games on this team. I mean, that's just such an unneeded endorsement of a guy who's the worst quarterback in the NFL right now.
And now let's dig into that really quickly. Let's dig into that. Now, let's play both sides here, and Blake, I want to throw this to you, and then Dave, I'll throw it to you as well. If there are some people who believe that Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, is making Kevin Stefanski start Deshaun Watson for a plethora of reasons. There's a lot of conspiracy theories under why, but people believe that Jimmy Haslam is forcing Kevin Stefanski to start Deshaun. Mary Kay Cabot came right on out and asked Kevin Stefanski that very question, and he said that is emphatically false. That is not true. Let's play the mind game for a second. I want to go both ways. Let's start with the way that's harder to explain, right? Or let's start with the easier to explain. If Jimmy Haslam is forcing Kevin Stefanski to play Deshaun Watson, my question is why? Blake, go.
It's because you have all this money tied up, dude. You can't sit a guy that you're paying, or that you have $172 million left to pay. And it's just like they went all in on this, dude. And Kevin Stefanski, it seems like that he was really kind of never in on this. That's what his press conference made it feel like. It's like Haslam and AB are his parents, and they're making him go to like some store that he doesn't want to go to. And they took that plane all the way down to Houston, talked to Deshaun all up, and it got to here, and it's Kevin's like, oh my God, like, what's going on? It's just, first of all, it's just it's just money. That's why. Because you don't sit a quarterback with that much money.
Right. And so now my second question to you, Dave, let's play a really harder question to ask, is if Jimmy Haslam isn't forcing Kevin Stefanski to start Deshaun Watson. Why would Kevin Stefanski want to start Deshaun Watson and then give the reason Watson gives us the best chance to win? Dave, what do you think could potentially, if Kevin Stefanski is telling the truth and Jimmy Haslam isn't forcing him to start Deshaun Watson, why is Kevin Stefanski risking his job, it seems, allegedly to be starting Deshaun Watson? Why would he be doing that?
I don't know. It would be like taking the clip and go ahead and clipping it onto a big circle or a ring on the Titanic, is what he'd be doing. So I have no clue why he would do that without somebody making him do it. He's watching the exact same football that we are. He knows 10 times more than we do about how bad he really is. That's no way that's true. There is no way in hell this is Kevin Stefanski's call. No way in hell. And to go back to that, Blake, what you said, I disagree with you. I don't care. Even we owe him that money no matter what. We owe him that money no matter what. However, your allegiance needs to be to that football team. And you need everything you do needs to be to give that football team the best chance to win on every single Sunday.
I agree with you, Dave.
There's a certain point to where, dude, you got to pay him anyway. You got to just let him stay home. You got to, because you owe it to the other 52. You owe it to the other 52 to say, hey, he is not a part of the solution and is a part of the problem. And it's my responsibility to you guys. I'd say the same thing to my employees is, I cannot let one person affect 17 other people. I have an obligation to every single one of them, whether it's 82, 53, or 12. That's your job, and that's the Haslam's job. He has a responsibility, and he needs to just send Deshaun home to sit home. He's got to pay him no matter what. But
that's
he's
why
wrecking this team.
But that's why these owners shouldn't own sports teams, because they know nothing about sports.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, this is all money to them. Like, Jimmy Haslam, in his brain, he's like, oh, crap. Like, I'm going to lose money if this guy doesn't play or pan out.
He doesn't care about the guy who pays $4,400 for club season ticket year after year after year. And then you're going to go ahead and walk this shit out?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, bro. I'm not going down there Sunday. I'm not. I'm not paying $70 to park. I'm not paying $15 for a drink in the stadium. I'm sure as hell not paying $10 for a drink out of the stadium with that crowd because there's nothing but negativity. You're going to go in there. You're going to watch the Bengals blow us out by 24, and I'm going to do a walk of shame back up that damn hill to where my heart feels like it's going to explode because I'm out of shape. I ain't doing it, dude. I'm staying home. I'm going to watch it on the couch, and it will not ruin my day. It won't.
Now let me play a thought experiment just for a second, because again, with it being played out for the rest of the season, I think Mary Kay Cabot brought up a really good point that a lot of people, were quote tweeting her all over the place that this is just, a horrible decision. Again, this is just a thought experiment. If we did play Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season, I'm on that camp in believing that might be the best option, and not so much for winning. I don't like the fact that Kevin Stefanski was caught saying that the best chance to win. But the way that I think about it is I made a chart here, right? If your goal, and for the people who are listening, they can't see the chart, but if your goal is Super Bowl,
that's
right?
A great Lombardi.
If your goal is Super Bowl, clearly we're not doing that, right? Clearly we're not going here anymore. So we're not going to the Super Bowl anymore. Okay, fine. If you're not going to the Super Bowl and you're admitting that you're not going to go to the playoffs, you're basically going to be tanking. Basically, right? Now, my question is, if you're going to be tanking, do you want to tank with Jameis Winston, who you're not going to win any games? Why do you want what? He's not going to turn everything around. People keep talking about start Jameis Winston. I don't believe you should do that because you're not going to the playoffs, and Jameis Winston is not going to be on this football team next year. So you're only wasting your time with having Jameis Winston. He was supposed to be your backup quarterback if Deshaun went down for 2 games and you were 6-3, 7-4, and you're going to the playoffs, and Deshaun Watson needed to be out for 2 games, and then you needed a quarterback to go in. DTR wasn't going to be that guy. It was going to be Jameis. That all blew up now because you're 1-5. You can't start Jameis Winston. You're not going to turn the season around. You're not going anywhere. Okay. So you either start DTR or you really put Deshaun Watson under center for the rest of the season, because either A, you're going to be trash for the rest of the season, or B, you actually get a full gigantic season sample size of Deshaun Watson. And I know a lot of people say, hey, Manny, he's trash. He's garbage. We get it. I don't need to see anymore. But I'm saying now that Amari Cooper's gone, like, you get to see a full sample size. No more 6 games or look at that game or look at the second half of that game. No, I've seen you for 17 games be garbage. And now I can make a decision to cut you.
Dude, he is yet to throw over 200 yards this year.
Exactly.
He is yet to throw over 300 the whole time he's been a Cleveland Brown.
I absolutely.
Rodney McLeod leads the team in touchdowns.
I absolutely hear you.
Tied for a second.
Well, but now he leads.
Not anymore.
Not anymore because Amari Cooper's gone. So he's.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So remember. So I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you is, I don't even want to hear from Jimmy Haslam, from any single, if people call them Watson Warriors or anybody who loves Deshaun. I don't want to hear from a single soul if Deshaun Watson plays all 17 games, and if we finish like 2-15, I don't want to hear a soul say, well, Deshaun Watson could have done this if you would have kept them in, because if you put DTR in right now and then they win 4 straight and all of a sudden everybody starts playing really well, Deshaun Watson, he didn't need more time to adjust. No, I saw Deshaun Watson fully for a 17-game season be trash. Now I can eat that money. Everybody will understand why I'm eating $45 million next year and $45 million the year after that. So that's the only reason. That to me is the only reason why Kevin Stefanski might, on the low, he doesn't want to say it out loud, because you would basically be saying, I want to play Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season so that he can play like garbage, and I give my owner all of the opportunity to say, here, he's garbage, let's get rid of him. So I think that's the only reason why. I know as Browns fans, because like you're saying, Dave, we're trying to pay money. We want to see a good product. And when we see our team blatantly putting out and trotting out players who are not good, we get upset. This isn't 2017. We know we had expectations for this team. We can't possibly move forward with that. MC says Manny must have bumped his head. I understand. Again, I'm not saying that Deshaun should play just because he gives us the best chance to win. Remember, I'm just saying there's no excuse after that. Maybe we have enough film. Maybe we do. I don't know. To me,
I do. We should. There's enough. I mean, that's enough is enough, man. I
think there's one. If there's any time to call it quits, it'd be after this Sunday at 1:00. After this Sunday,
right?
Where Joe Burrow has never won a game in Cleveland. Their secondary for the Cincinnati Bengals is extremely thin. Dax Hill is injured. He's on IR. They have nobody in their secondary. Their defense is weak. They just barely can score 17 touchdowns. It's a division game. We need to run the football. If Deshaun Watson can't do something with this game on Sunday, with Nick Chubb coming back, playing at home, I don't know. Now Manny Maxwell's done.
It's going to be bad, because the Bengals are going to be like, okay, let's stop Nick Chubb. I don't know how much he's going to play, but when he's in the game, they're going to fill the box up. Like, it's going to be like the old Browns when Nick Chubb's in there. Defenses are going to stack the box, and you got to be able to pass. And we're going to see it, because the Bengals are going to try their damnedest to stop Nick Chubb and having this comeback of the year. And Deshaun Watson's got to do something. And I don't believe him, because he's already played the worst defense in the league, and he sucked.
Yeah, that's true. Now, and a quick question. I guess you guys are kind of already answering this. This is the next question that I had lined up. But if you had to give me a percentage out of 100, if you're leaning 50-50 or if you're leaning like 90-10, which way are you personally leaning right now for the Cleveland Browns? If you were the ultimate, the last person in line to make the call for the Cleveland Browns, would you tell your team to pack it up, season's done, let's focus on the draft? Or would you try
No.
to turn it around? What at 1-5? What percentage are you leaning? I'll go Blake. What percentage are you leaning for either or? Can you give me a percentage?
Like percentage of telling the team that we're gonna tank? Is that
Yeah,
what you're asking?
yeah.
Dude, 0. Because like
So
you don't
100%
want
all in, all in.
you as a head coach, you have to be all in. You have to earn those guys' trust. Like look at Dan Campbell, dude. Dan Campbell, his first year they were 1-6, or was that his second year? They were 1-6. Have you seen that speech where he told them guys that he is all in, fully all in, and then they go finish the year 9-8? They beat the Packers and knock them out of the playoffs.
Mm,
Like you have to be all in if you're the head coach. You have to be all in if you're the owner. You have to be all in if you're the GM, especially with all this talent and everything else. Like if you just say, "Hey, we're going to tank and go in the draft," like you got to understand how the players feel.
mm.
Like man, I got to waste another year on this bull crap. Like when is it going to turn around for us?
And Dan
And
Campbell and
that's
Kevin Stefanski are fundamentally they're two different people. And I'm not saying that
exactly.
against your point, but I'm saying it
Oh,
shows
way
you.
different sides.
Shows you.
Yep.
It shows you.
But that's the attitude you got to have. You can't just walk around and be like, "Oh, here we go, another day of tanking this and that." Like you got to try to win, no
Absolutely.
matter how bad your team is. Like if you get the first pick, you get the first pick. Like that's why I think the NFL should have a lottery pick.
So that you can't just tank to get the first pick.
So that way you just can't tank. Like you got to be all in all the time.
Dave, what do you think? What percentage are you, kind of sitting at when it comes to this, outlook on the season? Are you, would you say pack it up, or would you kind of say turn it around?
Dude, I mean, if you're 0-15 as a professional and you're paid to play the sport, you should, I would hope, and I would have this conversation with the team and say, I would hope that you would have the same effort in that 16th game being 0-15 as you did on one. So, Jacob, oh my goodness, Jacob. There you go.
I still got a year eligibility left in college. Let's go.
I'm going to get a helmet on too. But as far as pack it in, are we ready for the draft? We kind of are, and that's just the reality. That's not a mindset. That's reality. But I think you can also be, hey, let's try and turn it around. I agree with you 100% what you said, Manny. Jameis Winston isn't a long-term option here. We needed him in the event that we were making a good run and Deshaun got hurt. That's his role. I would immediately start DTR after the Bengals game once we get blown out Sunday, like we will. I would immediately start DTR for two reasons. One is I think they have DTR. There's plans for him to be with this team and have a role. But also, we got to see what this offense looks like without Deshaun Watson on the field at all. And we have to see what the offense looks like without him there, because you need to know what you have by the end of the year. Huh?
We have to see it, because
we cannot let Watson run the rest of this year. We got to see what it looks like without him.
But I feel like it makes Jimmy Haslam and AB nervous, because what happens if they just start balling? Like what happens if the offense is just like clicking on all cylinders and everything?
I mean, if that's the case, you found your answer, right? I mean, you look at what the Denver Broncos doing with Russell Wilson and kind of paying off that $33 million to kick him out of town. I mean, they didn't even have internally that big of an issue. That was more of just Sean Payton saying, "I just want him out." But wouldn't it be so nice to be able to have that physical backup or that physical evidence saying, "Hey, DTR is balling right now." He went. He's won 3 games. He's only lost 2 or 1 or whatever the case may be. Even if it's not about losing the games, I think if you had really good quarterback play, and then I think you have some evidence there to say, hey, we can move on without Deshaun. I do believe though, if you have some guys out there, it's going to be interesting to see. You have some Cedric Tillmans, you have some Jamari Thrashes. Elijah Moore, who's been, secretly disgruntled about not getting looks.
Who's getting passes.
James Prochet is getting passes. These are guys who aren't on contract years. You got to remember, Amari Cooper was probably extremely frustrated with Deshaun Watson's play, because he's like, you're messing physically with my money. You know what I mean? Forget you're just a bad quarterback. You're messing with my last contract here in the NFL. So now you're getting if you get a Jerry Jeudy out there who's like, I'm under contract, I'm here. He might ball a little bit more, right? Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman, who's like, this is finally my opportunity to be a wide receiver 3. He might fight a little harder.
I would hope.
So I'm not trying to make an optimistic spin on things by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm saying if DTR does go out there and does ball, I think the Browns are in a very peculiar situation. It'd be one of the most interesting situations in all of football, and the HBO special Hard Knocks AFC North is going to be insane in December.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be so crazy because with the footage that comes out, somebody might be fired. If we see footage like what the Giants did with Saquon Barkley, where they were on the fence or whatever about paying him, or those Deshaun comments or conversations, I might subscribe to HBO for that. It's going to be very interesting to see. But again, I do want to talk a little bit about moving forward because I want to get everybody's viewpoints on this, and I kind of already touched on it. But Dave, for the rest of the season, would you put in Jameis Winston or would you put in DTR?
Hell no, easy choice. DTR, 100% final answer. And just because you said it, Manny, perfectly, Jameis was here to serve a very specific purpose. That purpose is not going to play out. We are not going to be in contention for any type of postseason play. DTR is a longer-term option here with this team. 100% you throw DTR in there and see what the offense can do with him. 100%. My opinion.
Blake, what do you got for me? Jameis Winston, DTR, Deshaun for the rest of the season.
Dude, for how much I love Jameis, I just want to see him one time just sling the rock. But DTR, they obviously have hope in him, or else he would already been on some other team.
Right.
But
I agree.
But I'd love to see Jameis because he is a leader of men. No matter how goofy his pregame speeches are, he just knows how to get guys together and fight. And it's just something I gotta see because I just need to see it.
I'll tell you, young Jacob Harris here in our chat stream. Let me tell you about Jake. Jake was my sales manager at a dealership, and DTR, I would say there's a lot of similarities between Jake and DTR. I think they need to sit DTR down, just like I had to do young Jacob, and I had to basically say, dude, I need you to take this seriously. I don't know what you're doing right now, but it ain't football. And this is DTR last year, obviously not this year, but I need you to pull your out of your where, and I need you to become a professional, and I need you to do your job. And when you can do that, the youngster DTR, I think he has grown each and every game from that disaster in Baltimore when he got thrown in 10 minutes before the game, was told he was starting, which was some of the worst quarterback play I've ever seen in football. And I felt terrible for the kid. But I love him, dude. I love him. I love the way he plays. I love the passion. I follow his mom on LinkedIn. I love her. I love a lot of stuff about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And I think if somebody could just say, listen, man, this is your shot. Don't blow it. But I need you to be a professional. I need you to go out there and execute this offense. And I think we'll enjoy watching it when it happens because I think that kid's ready. And what better scenario for him? There's literally no pressure. None. Young Jacob Harris in the chat string. There was no pressure where he was at. None. But he took it seriously. And now that kid runs a big BMW store in Oregon all by himself. Well done.
Shout out to Jake.
Shout out to Jake.
I think obviously I would go DTR, but to throw a wrench in it really quickly before we do on the preview, to wrap up the show. But I know there was a lot to talk about. But would you, if obviously Anthony Richardson is definitely going to be one of the starters. I mean, the starter in Indianapolis. I don't think Jim Irsay kind of came out and said that as well. No matter when he comes back, he's going to be the starter. Would you try to pry off Joe Flacco and try to bring him back, or is it not worth giving up picks because the season's kind of done?
I don't think the Colts are gonna even let anyone have a chance because they
If
have
we
no
were
idea
3 and
what's
3,
going on with Anthony Richardson.
right?
That's true. What were we gonna say, Dave? That's a good point.
I would say if we were 3 and 3 right now, and we were playing a little bit better, I mean, I would think that would have to be an option if Watson was still performing the way he is. But I don't think it would be possible, like you guys said.
So and before and to go, I just want to ask this one question before we move on to the preview. If there's one thing that you want to see for the rest of the season, if there's one part of if you can leave the 2024 season, 2025 season and say at least we got blank, it'll make you feel better. What do you kind of want to see? What kind of do you want to feel? If that question makes sense, Dave, you're kind of nodding your head. I'll go to you first.
Oh,
what was something that made you feel better and make you feel the season wasn't a waste?
Oh, absolutely, Manny. And it would be Nick Chubb hitting 1,000 yards rushing. So that right there, if Nick Chubb was able to do that, I would say, okay, 25, we at least have a chance.
Yes. Yeah. I to be completely honest with you, I didn't even think of that. If Nick Chubb comes back healthy, I don't even know if 1,000 yards would be it. Just to see him healthy and running the ball and becoming one of the best running backs in the NFL, that's a huge sign. Blake, what do you think?
That means he only needs 100 yards a game.
100 yards a game. Yep, he hits 1,000 yards end of the year. He's done it before in a 9-game season. So,
oh my God.
What about you, Blake? What would make this season feel kind of better?
I think if our main core guys give 100% effort the whole season and just kind of install that old Jarvis Landry don't quit, that wide receiver room speech. If they can just give us the effort of a leader, I still have hope in this team next year. I don't want the core guys to quit on us.
Right. I for me, I think it's about the same thing, like a combination of both of what you both said. Obviously, I want to see Nick Chubb healthy. That was a great one. I didn't even think about that off the top of my head. And I want to see those guys who are remaining on the roster kind of almost show some grit, right, going into the season. Know that the ship is sinking.
Like the defense this past week,
Dude,
they're going to be like this.
Wow.
They're going to be like this. Wow, yes. They're going to be like this all season, boys.
Yes.
Yeah. They do not give a single crap of how bad that offense is. They are going to give us a chance to win the ball game every week.
Yep.
And I love it.
100%. Yep. And that's something that I've been begging from them, like the Steelers. Just keep us in ball games, man. That block field goal, not even put aside returning it for a touchdown, because that's not always going to happen. But that block field goal, that defense, the way they really kind of stunted the Eagles. Now the Eagles, and they both had A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith back. Now they're struggling over there in Philadelphia, but at the same time, you've had two stud wide receivers back at the exact same time, and they went off, but at the same time, they held them to 20 points. I want to see guys like DeJuan Jones come back and have a good year. Yep. I want to see guys like Cedric Tillman, David Bell once he comes off of IR. I want to see Jamari Thrash. They don't have to be superstars, but I want to see some promise in real life games. And
Jerry Jeudy needs to make the leap to the number one. We need to see him establish himself as a number one.
Absolutely. I would love to see that.
Deshaun can give him the ball.
Yeah. I think that's important. That's important. That's what would make me head into next season saying, hey, maybe we don't need to draft a wide receiver. Maybe we can only focus on offensive line. So that would be helpful. That would be helpful to see.
Sometimes you got to get rid of players for other players to elevate their game.
You do.
And you've seen that with multiple teams like the Chiefs, the Bills.
Yeah.
They lose players all the time, but the Chiefs still manage to be Super Bowl contenders. Obviously they have the best player in the league and everything like that. But they've lost players on offense, defense, and they still managed to get there.
And to your point, Blake, you know what I think it is also? Notice who all of these problem players have been in the past for the Cleveland Browns. even this season, it's people who are not homegrown. They are not drafted by the Browns. If you're drafted by the Browns, you have some sort of allegiance to the Browns. Even with David Njoku with that contract extension, he got the contract extension to stay with the Browns. He's not really talking crazy. Nick Chubb's not talking crazy. Denzel Ward's not talking crazy. Myles Garrett's not talking crazy. It's these Odell Beckhams. It's these Amari Coopers. It's these who's another guy. I mean, Juan Thornhill just a little bit. John Johnson the third. Remember John Johnson
the
the
biggest
third?
talker of all of them.
Like, man, oh man, it's these people that you keep bringing in. And to your point with Kansas City,
Clowney.
you get those Clowney. You bring these homegrown guys in. There's an allegiance there. And I think we need more of that. We just got to draft better. We just have to draft better wide receivers, which we cannot do for the life of us. And we can't draft quarterbacks for the life of us. We need to start getting homegrown here in Cleveland. So with that being said, we are going to move.
Do they let AB draft a quarterback this year in the first round?
Well, AB hasn't technically drafted a high pick quarterback with his tenure with the Browns. So,
yeah.
I mean,
it's
hard to say, right? I mean, I would make sure.
I think we know we're going to have a top 10 pick, right? Would you say that we would all agree with that?
I think so.
Top 10, yes.
Top 10, right.
I think we're probably going to end up with a top 10.
It might be a 40%
scenario
top
where
5.
7 and 10, like best case scenario.
Best case scenario, 7 10. Yeah, that would be
a fantastic comeback if they were.
Yeah. MC says AB is gone.
He should be. He needs to be held accountable for the Watson and his draft misses too.
AB is so good at drafting corners. It's insane. But at the same time,
they gave him too much power, dude.
They gave him a little bit too much power, and I don't know. I'm not saying we should give him one more year, but
his trade makes him look even worse because he's never had that top pick to redeem himself for all of the lower round picks.
Yes, exactly. And that's another thing too. It's like it's hard to see what you're going to do because you look at John Dorsey. John Dorsey gave us Denzel Ward and Baker Mayfield.
Oh my God, John Dorsey was like, "Oh, he's from Ohio State, bam! Oh, he's cool as hell, bam!"
but to
you ready to be a number 1 pick, Baker?
chewing the gum. But to John's Dorsey credit, he had the number 1 and number 4 overall pick in the draft. Like, I mean, when do you ever get to do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's not every day you get to do that. Imagine if AB had the number 1 and number 4 overall pick like this year or next year. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like this coming year. Would he miss? I don't know. I mean, do you call Baker Mayfield a miss?
No.
That's a whole different discussion. I don't know, but can of worms. But I think it's interesting thought experiment. But so we're just going to talk about the Bengals game. Obviously, we have this is to me the single most biggest game of the year for Cleveland. This is I don't care what people say. People might, be the glass half empty and say the fork in the road has hit us back at week 3. Like, this is the fork in the road. This is the team that you have the mental edge against. Every Bengals fan knows it. Jamar Chase even said it last year and got blasted. And it's just like people keep saying Cleveland is Cleveland. No matter what you say, we beat Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's never won here. Nick Chubb is coming back. You have no excuses. Beautiful weather, 68 and sunny on Cleveland. This is the most important game of the season. So, boys, we're going to add this to the stage at 1:00 p.m. Joe Burrow has been going off. His stats look really good compared to Deshaun Watson's. I'm not even going to go over that. But what is your outlook for this game? ESPN, rightfully so. What's your outlook for this game?
The fact they're giving us a 37.8% just because we've kicked their ass the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Like, Joe Burrow has yet to win in Cleveland.
Yes.
Has yet to win.
He's about to.
He's
about to do it in a major way too.
I don't even think any of the games that he's played in Cleveland, he's played good.
All them streaks about to be broke.
And it's about it. It's either about to be broken,
All
or
of them.
Nick
One of
Chubb,
those bad streaks.
or Nick Chubb's just gonna have this miraculous game, and Myles Garrett's gonna get to Joe Burrow like he always does. I don't know. I have no idea. The Browns give me like no clues on how it's gonna go or nothing. Like
there you go, MC.
Yeah.
Yep. That's more like it.
What? Bengals 33, Browns 6.
I like how he spelled 6.
Are we doing official predictions now?
We totally can. Dave, what do you got for us?
I'm not going to go as bad as MC, but I am going to say 24-10 Bengals over the Browns.
I need to be optimistic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why?
And just
why?
Just in my head, I just have to.
This is a show of truth and reason.
Yeah, I know, Dave. I'm not that smart. I have to be gullible. I talk myself into it all week. I work myself up Sunday, and I'm like, God damn it, the Browns are gonna win the game. Like I do that every Sunday, and it hurts me, but the Browns are somehow gonna pull this out. And I'm smiling when I say this.
Yeah, 10-6.
Yeah, it's gonna be some stupid score. Like last night, or not, when the Bengals play Sunday night, I was not impressed with them playing the Giants at all.
Monday night. That was on Monday night. Or Sunday night. That was Sunday night. Yeah.
With them playing the Giants, I was not impressed, but like also I was not impressed by us playing the Giants. But like this is an AFC North game.
Yeah. And
so
we saw what happened when they
scoring.
played the Ravens. Randomly, it was like instant crazy.
Oh, it was like game of the year almost.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it's going to be low scoring. Like I think it's going to be like 18-15 Browns or something like that. Or Bengals. It's like an 18-15 game. Like that's what it would be. Either team. But I want the Browns to win, obviously.
I want the Browns to win too. I think that I'm optimistic because I know that this is my personal fork in the road. If they lose this game, it is 100% over. Like the mental edge against an entire roster of grown men doesn't even work anymore. And so I think the Browns should win this game because the Bengals don't look like the Bengals.
Their defense is atrocious.
Their secondary is extremely thin. I said it before, Dax Hill's on IR. Like there's a lot of holes in that defense. That interior defensive line is very suspect. Is very thin. There's a lot of injuries. So I hope that the Browns can win. I believe that they're going to win, but I'm like 51%, 49%. And if they win, Blake, you hit it right on the head. It's going to be the stupidest score you've ever seen. Like
they got to do it for Nick. Bro. They got to do it for Nick. Like
they've got to.
That's what's been in my head. Like
yes,
I've been talking myself into this. They have to do this for Nick Chubb. Like there is no way I can see them losing this game because Nick Chubb is back. Like it's Nick Chubb's return, bro. He has not played on a football field in over a year. Like we have all been waiting for this moment. He has to like light up this locker room and they go like, dude, we got to do this for Nick.
Dude, you're right, Blake. Nick's gonna go for 130. He's gonna have a touchdown and a couple catches. You're absolutely right, and they're gonna lose 28-10.
I think that interior, what a time to bring out Nick Chubb. That interior defensive line is very thin. They're going to be able to bring them back. I wonder what's going to happen. I really do. I'm trying to be as optimistic as I possibly can. But at the same time, I don't know. I think it's going to be 15-10, 15-11. The Browns are going to win, and we're going to walk away saying at least they won, but we're going to get smacked by the Baltimore Ravens the week after.
This just popped into my head. The Steelers are also dumb because they're about to start Russell Wilson.
Yes, that's weird. That is weird. I gotta go talk to some Steelers fans about that. I gotta go talk to my wife about
Justin
that. I don't
Fields
know
has, like-
what on earth.
Justin
They
Fields
just
has like
dropped 30.
Justin Fields has like 10 touchdowns and 1 pick.
Yeah,
Dude, I hope they get him out of it. I hope they start Wilson, dude. That would be great.
that would be amazing. That would be the best thing that's ever. I have no idea why they would say that, especially because Josh Allen just ran all over the Jets, and the Steelers play the Jets now. So it's like now, like if they're gonna put stationary Russell Wilson back there, they're just giving the Jets a win. I don't know. So anyway, guys, great show, fantastic. I know we're down. Hopefully, we're talking about a win next time, and not the season is completely done for.
Do it for Nick, bro.
Do it for Nick.
Do it for
Nick
Nick.
Chubb.
Yep.
But as always, go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. Do it for Nick.
Birds up!